Hey, what's up guys? Mass Mechanics here. Welcome back to the channel. We're finishing up our Super Duty build here. It's an 04 with an 11 to 16 body swap. And now we got to work on getting this camera straightened out to finish off our interior swap. This is what our camera looks like. It's an aftermarket unit, really affordable. And we're going to go through it and get it wired in and make it work. Right, now we got camera install time. So I left the factory one in when I did the body mods. This is it right here. It's not hooked up to anything, and it has a fairly hefty harness with it. I'm going to try to use my aftermarket one because I've already tested it in the truck and it worked just fine the way it's supposed to be wired. I'm not sure on the wiring on this thing or how it's supposed to work or any of that kind of stuff. So let me get this handle out and I will start getting ready to put that new camera in. To do that, I already started. As you can see, you take out these bolts here in this bed liner for the tailgate here, and I will pull out these bolts and show you what's underneath. Alright guys, so you got the back cover here, which comes off of those bolts that we took off that go through the bed liner cover. That bed liner is actually off of the 04 truck originally. It was the tailgate cover part was in better shape than the one that was on this donor tailgate here. So we used it. I bought a new cap for it and did a bunch of body work to the tailgate. As you can see, the original color was green for this tailgate. Pretty much built the truck out of, I think it was like 7 or 8 different trucks all combined between the bed, the tailgate, the doors are different, the nose is all brand new Ford stuff. So long story short, it's a mutt. But to do this, you just pull these up. It's got a little tab there, so it's not too hard. You can break them if you're not super careful, but I just go under here and then pull kind of forward a little bit to get it off of that little tab, and these pop up pretty good. It is cold out, so I was a little extra careful, but I popped those. And then these, you kind of want to reference a little bit where they're at. I mean, what I like to do is I just kind of make sure that you can see there's a little slop. I just take the slop out of it and then push it down and clip it in. That way you don't have so much crazy swing with your handle. And some of these fasteners are different depending on the year truck you have and whatever. These ones are T27s, which is a lot of our truck. But I think the original one was, they were different kinds of bolts totally. These are bolts. As you can see, they had threads. The ones that were in the 04 were like sheet metal screws. So there's subtle differences, but they're about the same stuff. Like the key lock here for the 04, I swapped it into this handle, which is the 11 to 16 handle. So no biggie there. To get these out, you just take these 2 bolts out, pop these arms off, and then this thing drops out. These nuts, I think on mine are 11 mil, but they could be whatever for whatever you have. So I'm going to get this off without trying to scratch it, and I'll be good to go. As you can see, here's the back of the camera from the factory. So I'll just pull the wire that I already took the harness off, see? It's because I knew I wasn't going to use it. So, okay, let me get this off, and then I'll be back with you. So now our old camera was just held in with these little push clips here. I can't even remember the name. I'm so cold. But they're just these old style push retainer clips that they had on old cars for emblems and everything else since the 50s and 60s that I know of anyways. They're pretty simple. I just work them back and forth with a little screwdriver. And there's 2 of those setups, and then it pops right off, and here's our factory camera. Pretty nasty old thing. Like I said, I don't even know if it works. I'm not too familiar on the wiring of this thing either. It's just easier to run the aftermarket one that I know is compatible with our Pioneer unit here. So let me get that out, show it to you, and see if we can get it to fit inside of this little hole here and have it look good. So this is your typical aftermarket camera you can find on Amazon, eBay, whatever. Like I said, I tested it already on the new Pioneer unit, and it did work fine. You have a green and a white. One of them you cut, and it takes away the side bars that help you align it. And the other one you cut to make it either forward or reverse the image. So it's either like a mirror image or it's a straight image. So you can decide how you like your camera to look. So anyways, let's try to get this thing fitted inside the bezel now. I'll work on it for a second and I'll be back with you. Alright, so as you can see, we got it in. I put a zip tie through it just to be safe. I just didn't want to have the thing want to slide out if I'm ever in the woods or something. But as you can see, it fit perfectly. I mean, it looks completely factory. The reason I'm in the driver's seat now is because I had to run the wires again just to test it, because as you can see, I had the screen on. I just have to hold the wires until I run them all and connect them properly. But I had to do it because I wanted to make sure that the camera was up so the image didn't come out upside down or sideways or something. So I wanted to make sure it was vertical. So I hooked up the wires and then rotated it till it was straight, then just pushed it in, and then just to make sure it doesn't ever want to slip out, I threw the zip tie on one of the clips. So it's not necessary, it's just an added security, and it's there, so I might as well, because I don't ever want to have to take it apart again. So now it's time to just slide it back in and hook up some wires. And if you look right here, here's a factory hole in the cab with a rubber grommet. So I got a rubber grommet that I could run the wire loom through, and then that's where my harness goes. And then you go down here, and you can see how, I don't even know if you can see it really, but there it is. There's your harness I made for the rear. That's got your AV cable that runs the camera, your power cable for the camera, and then also the power line for the rear lights. And then right here is when I tucked it inside the frame and tied it along all the way down with the inside. And then there is our new light. So now the way we mounted it, you can see how nice and tight and tucked it is to the bumper. That way it doesn't look ridiculous. Like some of those pod lights are really nice and they are bright, but they have something really kind of narrow like this and tucked. It just gives it a little cleaner look, because I'm not looking to make this truck into a super off-road vehicle, even though it can handle being in the woods. I really don't want to damage it or scratch it up too much. So being able to go up there in the woods and still be able to see where you're going when you're backing up, and even at nighttime when you're using the backup camera and running these lights, it gives you a lot more visibility. Now it's really simple to wire these. As you can see, there's the wire loom. That's the one that we ran right out of the back of the cab. And that bolt right there is the factory ground bolt for like the rear harness for your taillights and all that. So you tie right into that, which is no big deal. Take the bolt out, put in the connector in, and tighten it down. And then in that harness we got our AV cable, our power cable for the lights that runs off the switch, and there's also the power for the camera, so we can switch it on and off. And that's how neat and clean it looks. And as you can see, that's the one of the cross members we welded in instead of having the spare tire carrier. We have two of these big 2x4 square steel tubing pieces right here. There's a big 2x4 square tubing instead of having the spare tire carrier. So that's a lot stronger and stiffer anyways. 2x4 square thick wall tubing. But really simple. And then under here we were able to mess around with our spacing. Let me zoom out here. And then looking at the light, we were able to space it out. What we did was I drilled a hole right there, and then we put a nutsert in, and I could space it up or down, and then ran a bolt and tighten it down right into the nutsert. So that's solid right to the frame of the rear bumper, and the wires are nice and tucked away, and everything's clean and neat, and it works very well. So that's a real easy install on these. Well, alright guys, we're in the truck. Everything's done and put back together. It's just reverse order on putting the tailgate stuff back together. Really simple. Just put the screws back through and all the pieces back on. And the wiring's done, so let's give it a test here. And there it is. Reverse camera is working perfectly. No issues. And now it's all activated with a switch here. And as you can see, it's nice and straight. That's why it was so important to check it once it's in the bezel to make sure you got your side to side, up and down, so the thing's not crooked or upside down or something ridiculous, and just be aggravation to take it all apart again. So now that that's done, we can hit this switch whenever we want. Especially, it's mainly for when you're towing any kind of big trailer, camper, whatever you're into. This having a switch like this, we can be driving down the road and you hear the trailer sounds a little funny or something. We can just look up here now and keep on driving down the road and make sure everything looks all right in the camera. So it's just a good peace of mind to have. and it's one less thing to worry about, and we can use it whenever we like instead of just only in reverse like most systems like this work. So that is a nice payoff right there. Well, that's the end of this series on this Super Duty for now. It might be returning in the future for some more cool mods, but for now, that was our interior. It's all finished up. As you guys saw, the truck really looks great. Really wish we were able to show you the entire step through to make this 04 look this nice. It was a lot of work from everybody involved, and it really came out excellent. So please like, subscribe, guys. We got a lot more projects coming your way.